Hello, my savvy done-for-you service provider scaling to 10K months. Happy Wednesday. I am so excited to have this conversation with y'all today. We are talking about how I coached one client from $4,000 a month to $23,000 a month. And this is something I have done with multiple clients. This is something I've done in my own business. I've tripled my revenue from $79K a year to $239K a year. And this is just something I'm really good at. Like, this is my zone of genius. So I've done this with lots of clients, but today, just for my brain, I'm going to focus on one, and we're really going to walk through what all that entails. So hello, Sue. Hi, thanks for joining live. It's so great to have you here. I am going to make sure I am going live in the group so I can make sure to see your questions, your comments. Fun giveaway today. I am doing $100 off for someone who comments either live or on the replay, but this is $100 off for my week-long coaching intensive. I have one spot left that I'm offering in June. These won't be available again until August. So what we're talking about today really lends itself to these week-long coaching intensives because you can create one funnel to six and multi-six figures, and it is so freaking simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Like, it's kind of one of the hardest things in the world for our central nervous system to just like take one funnel to sell multi-six figures. So that's what we're talking about today, and that's what I want to do as a special giveaway. So if you're here, please ask your questions, throw your comments at me. On the replay, I'll be checking back to make sure we get everything answered for you. So I really want this to be supportive for you and just to have like a fun $100 off giveaway that we'll give out, and someone will win it, and we'll announce that on Friday. I've basically got like a mini masterclass planned today, and my oldest daughter is bridging to 4th grade, so that's at 1 o'clock. So I'm going to be talking a little faster than normal because I want to get all this in, and I need to take the golf cart over and find parking and get there at 1 o'clock for her beautiful ceremony. And send me some prayers that I don't lose my cookies and just cry into a hanky the whole time, because that might happen. I'm a very heart-centered person, and so these kind of ceremonies just like bring out the tears and the waterworks. So my mom heart will be very full today. So let's dive in. So this is something, again, I have done with lots of clients to take them from, either 4K a month, 8K a month. They're kind of capped and stuck at this one revenue number, and they want to get to 10K, 20K plus months. Like, this is just like the simplest way to do it. So we're going to break that down. Like, my clients are parents. They don't want a big business. They don't want they don't want a big team. They don't want to pay for ads. They don't want to work all the time. They don't want to have boatloads of clients. They don't want 1 million followers. They don't want to have to fucking go viral. Like, they just want really good pay in a simple business. And that's what I want. Like, I'm a mom of 3. I don't have fucking time to like be on Instagram all the time, or to like send 1 million emails, or I don't want a huge team. So this is something I've done in my business, and I'm working with clients all the time. Like, they don't want to be on the hook for client delivery 24/7. They want to be able to take time with their family, go on vacation. Like, this can all live together. And this is why I love taking one funnel, like taking 4K to 23K, because it's just so freaking simple, and it's the fastest, easiest way to do it. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. Let's see. Let me just make sure I'm up in the group because I haven't seen it yet. Let's see. So we're talking today, really, there I am, about creating, basically how to create big results in your business, but without having a big business. Like, you want a simple business that takes home and brings you bank. So we're going to dive into that. And I keep teasing this out. Let me get through my notes. So everything I'm talking about today is 100% based on the work I do with my clients. Like, these are legit examples. I want to bring so much context, and I want to bring so many examples, and I want to bring everything here and just lay this out on the table for you so that you can see it's really not more complicated. Like, when we go in the online space, it sounds so confusing. And that's why when I'm online, 99% of the time I am creating and connecting. Like, I am not consuming. I am very particular about where I get my information and who I get my information from, because that's when I see so many business owners just be so fucking confused because everybody online is saying different things. One person's saying this, another person's saying this, and it's so easy to like lose sight of what's the right gap for you to close, what's the right problem for you to solve, because it's going to be a little different for everyone, and it just depends on where you are and what phase you're in. So this is why I like breaking this down for you today and just keeping it really fucking simple, because the online space will have you confused AF, and we don't want that. Like, frustrated business owners don't make good decisions, especially investment decisions. So let's make it really clear. We're going to start with the mindset piece. So overall, this client, let me just kind of dive into her results. So when we started working together, she had this like hodgepodge of low ticket offers. Like everything was around, at the most it was $300. Like she had stuff that was like $59 to $300, and she was making $4K a month. And she was burned out. She wanted to burn her business down. Like she was miserable. She was on the hook all the time for client delivery. She was constantly posting to social media. Like she was like at a breaking point. And so what we did, and we'll kind of talk through this with the strategy piece, but we really got clear on what her offers were. Then we created, the funnel to go with that. And in the past 6 months, she hasn't dipped below 18K. So this is something that I've just seen work so well over and over. And again, I'm going to use this one client, and I can't say what she does because it is so specific, but I'll give some details along the way. But she is you. Like she is a parent. She doesn't want to work full time. She takes Fridays off in the summer to be with her daughters. She has a small but mighty team. She has fucking amazing profit margins. Like she just took $10,000 out of her business recently to pay for home repairs. And she was like almost in tears on our call because she was like, even a few months ago, we would have gone into debt over this and it would have been so stressful. But she went to her husband and was like, I got it. I'll just take a draw out of the business. Just pull out 10 grand. It's okay. We'll pay for it. Like totally fine. So that's where we've shifted. And this is work that like we've done together, and like it's been so much fun. So let's start with the mindset piece. Like basically we're always leaning into mindset. Like no matter what stage or phase you're in, she's always getting mindset support, because this is the biggest thing. Like if you watched my live stream last week where my coach, we did a Q&A, but she had to do it through comments. One of the things I said was that I was shocked at how simple the strategy is, and it's the mindset piece that really fucks everybody up. Fucked me up. It's the main thing I work on with clients. Like strategy's the easy part, and it's the mindset piece that we're always leaning into. So that's kind of like the mindset piece is like woven through every single piece of this. But the first thing with mindset that she did that I invite you to do is she got so sold on herself and her offer and why it's the best thing that someone can buy. And I know like this is something everybody wants to eye roll, and they're like, I've heard that a million times. Like I get it, but like seriously though, why is your offer the best thing that someone can buy? Because if you're selling something for $500, $1,000, $3,000, like if you're asking the person in front of you to be sold on it more than you are, it ain't gonna sell. Like you need to be so fucking sold on this that you're basically like, they're crazy if they don't take me up on this. Like if I'm not that excited about my offer, it comes through in my content, it comes through on my sales content, it comes through emails. Like people can pick that up if you're just like, I guess it's okay. I guess it's the thing. I don't really know. Like why me out of a million other people? Like, oh, like you've really got to be like, I am so fucking clear on this that like, this is the best thing for you, and you're just kind of crazy if you don't take me up on it. So that was like the really foundational first step that we did, was like, why is her offer the best place someone can spend their money? Because we really need to get out of this like this place of like, well, I guess I can help them. It's like, you need to know that you can help them. Like you need to know that they're going to continue to have this problem if they don't buy from you. And you probably have more experience than like most of the people out there. So if they're going to buy, it needs to be from you, because you know what kind of work you do. You know that you deliver, you provide results. So this is the foundational piece. And this is why getting support can be so helpful, because it's so easy to just like create an offer and put it out there. But if you're not so sold on it, like it's just not going to sell like you want it to. So that is the first thing. And something I like to have my clients do is to journal. So before they're creating a new offer, before they're writing sales promos, before they're writing an email sequence, before they're writing a landing page, it's like journal on why this is the thing that people need to have. Like, why is this the best thing since sliced bread? Why are they crazy for not taking you up on this? Because that's the energy to bring when you're writing content, when you're writing emails, when you're creating the landing page. Like, you want to be in that vibe. You want to be in that energy because people really pick up on that. Like, our spidey senses can sense that. If you're just like, I mean, maybe one day you might want to hire me for this. Like, no, it needs to be like, you need to hire me now. And this is going to solve the problem you have. And I'm so fucking excited to do this with you. Like, that's the vibe. So that's what we really cultivated first with her offers, was like why this was like the best thing someone can do with their money. And we still have to keep coming back to that. So she's kind of reiterated and added kind of things on top of it, and we stack things, and we have to keep coming back to like, why is this the best thing somebody can spend their money on, and why her over the thousands of other people that do the same thing. So journal whatever you need to do before you're writing content, before you're putting something out there to the world. Like, get really sold on yourself and really sold on your offer first, because that's like the foundational piece that makes all of this work. Let me see if there's comments. I kind of paused, but I think we're good. This is key, because, you know, if you're not sold on your own shit, no one else will be. So the next piece is, we're always looking at the right gap to close. And this is a mindset piece, and it also kind of goes into strategy, but like, her brain wants to jump to so many things. Like, when we started working together, it's like, she's on Pinterest, she's on YouTube, she's like in all the places, she's doing reels, she's in the stories, she's doing emails. Like, there's so many different things she could be doing, but we really honed it in and made it simple. And then even when she's like, well, maybe I need to do ads, maybe I need to do this, like, maybe I need to do that, it just comes back to like, is that the gap we need to close? Is that the problem we need to solve for? And if not, it's really that like uncomfortable feeling of like, I need to just sit on my hands and let this play out and see what works, and then tweak from there. And that's what I was talking about in the beginning, why it can be so hard for people to take one funnel to six and multi-six figures, is because they don't want to do that. Like, it's so much more soothing for our nervous system to be like, let me go do this, and let me start this new thing, and let me redo this offer, and let me change the pricing, and let me go do this. And like, it's not that that stuff will never be something we need to do, but if we're just doing all of it at once, just to like soothe our nervous system and give us something to do, like, we're probably slowing our results down. We're making more work on ourselves. And even if something does help and it does work, we don't really know, because we've changed so many freaking things at once. So that's something I always keep coming back to, is like, what is the problem we're solving for now? And we're also not doing everything that we could be doing. Like, there are parts of her business that are quote unquote a little messy, but we're just fine leaving them, because it doesn't really matter. Like, yeah, it would be nice to like clean up some of these old, you know, email sequences or redo this landing page. But at the end of the day, like, she's still getting results, and that would only just make her have more work, or it would make her team have more work, which is increasing her costs, which decreases her profitability and what she takes home. Like, there's so many things she could do in her business, but we just kind of leave them because it's not the thing to fix now. And that's so hard for so many of us, is being like, well, that landing page isn't exactly how I want it, but like, it's still fucking working, so why don't I just leave it alone? Or, no, that is not my favorite best email to go out, but like, it's still working, or like that opt-in sequence is still doing great, so like, I just need to leave it alone. So that's something that I'm always supporting clients with, and that I've worked on with her, is really like leaving pieces of the business like messy or not updated, because it's just like, that's not the thing we need to like work on right now. So this is like making it simple for your brain. Find the right gap to close. So this is the piece we're going to go into strategy, is really making it simple and use the strategy to close the right gap. So we're always looking at these three things. And if you book an intensive, we will probably focus on one of these three things. And as a business owner, welcome to being a business owner, because we will always be coming back to these three things. So the strategy piece of taking like one funnel from $4,000 to $23,000 consistently. I'm not talking about feast or famine. I'm talking about consistent 23K months, 18 to 23K months. 18 is the minimum. You are looking at having a solid offer. You're looking at getting leads through the door, and you're looking at converting those leads. So we are going to dive into those with this strategy piece. So the piece we started with her, she came to me, she had this hodgepodge of $300 and under offers, was to really create like, well, you cannot get to 10K a month with these numbers. Like, the math doesn't math. You need like thousands of clients, or you're going to need a big team, or like it just doesn't work. So that's when we were like, okay, we do not want to copy and paste somebody else's offer. And that's what I see happen a lot in the online space, is people are creating offers that are like a copy of a copy of a copy. It's like, I saw this person do it, you know, Jasmine Star, Amy Porterfield, whoever, this is their offer. This is what I'm going to do. They're charging this amount, so that's what I'm going to do. Like, no. You need to create your own unique offer. And it doesn't mean you need to like recreate the wheel and create something so totally unique and specific that no one else online has. I'm not saying that, but you do need a badass offer that speaks to your traits, and it solves the problem that your people have and that they're willing to pay good money for. Like, that's the clincher to all of this. Like, you can have an amazing service, have an amazing offer, but if people aren't willing to pay good money to solve that problem, then it's just not an offer you need to create. So that's what I did with her. We spent a lot of time really ideating, like, what does she know about her audience? What does she know about her people? What traits does she bring to the table? How does she like to work? You know, I am a one-to-one coach exclusively. She does not want to do that exclusively. So we created an offer that really spoke to how she wanted to work, the schedule she wanted to have, and what people really needed from her. So we had all this amazing data already with her audience and what they needed, and we just created something with that. And it wasn't like, well, let's just go see what other people in your industry are doing. Like, it was very intentional. It was something that was just so specific and unique that there are people out there kind of doing what she does, but no one has this offer like she does. So that was the thing we needed to change first, was take this hodgepodge, you know, offer suite and really like streamline it into like her Grand Slam offer. Like, that's what we were calling it. It's like, she'd show up for her calls and we talk about her Grand Slam offer. And that's what I love calling it. So now we have this Grand Slam flagship offer, and even that has created like offshoots of revenue. So there's very little lift. Like, she's got her main offer, and from there we've added on and stacked things that like barely take any effort for her. Like, one time she showed up for a call and she was kind of complaining about this problem that her audience was having. And I was like, well, why don't you just offer them this? And it was like a VIP offer. And at first she was just like, no, there's no way I could do that. And it was like, to make it worth her while, she's like, it'd have to be $3,000. And her brain was just like, couldn't compute. And now she's selling that, and she's fully booking it out. And she has people emailing her asking to get the link for her $3,000 VIP option. Like, that is wild. And she's made like $10,000 with just 4 clients, I think. And it's just amazing to see that like it solves a problem that her audience has, but she's barely marketed it. Like, she's selling it to people who are already in that flagship offer. And this is just like the next step up. And she's already kind of doing the work with them anyway. So now it's just on more of a private basis. So that is just huge, because it's $10,000 that is basically all profit for her for just a handful of clients. And it came from just reiterating the same thing. Like, she had this flagship offer. We've run it a few times. She has a launch strategy. So we've run it a few times. And then with each iteration, it's like, ooh, okay, we learned this. Ooh, all right, let's add this. And it's just, it adds revenue. That's like the definition of scaling, is like adding revenue without adding more expenses. And she's just been able to do that. And that's part of that 23K that she's consistently making, is that flagship offer plus some things that we've strategically and intentionally stacked on that don't add more expenses or that much time for her. So that is huge. So that's literally like the first foundational piece is your offer, your flagship offer, your high ticket offer. What do all roads point to type of thing? So if you don't have clarity around your offer, if you don't have something that people are willing to pay top dollar for, then let's create that. Like that's what we can use your week-long intensive. We can like get together, and I'm really good at asking questions and pulling information out of you to help you have clarity. So it's not just me sitting here like, oh, well, I've had 5 clients, be really successful with this, so why don't you do this? Like it's not that at all. It's really us working together and ideating to see like, what skills do you bring to the table, especially as a done-for-you service provider? If you're someone who has like hourly or kind of monthly retainers and rates, like you have skills that so many mentors, coaches, program creators just don't have, and you can repackage those skills into something new that really helps your skill set shine and solves a problem that like most coaches and course creators just can't do because they don't have your background. So that's what we could really do on this week-long intensive if you're not clear on your offer, and that's what we would spend our time to do, because that within 1 week, that is the nucleus of everything. Your messaging hangs on that, like your pricing, like literally every fucking thing in your business hangs on this foundation of your offer and it being like solid and you being really clear on why this is the thing people need and the results that it creates. And that's what feeds into your messaging, your sales calls, like literally everything else. So if you take nothing else away today, know that like this foundational piece is key. And I see so many people skip over this. They're just like, oh yeah, so-and-so's doing this, let's just slap a high price tag on it and call it a high ticket. Like it's 2024. That shit just doesn't work anymore. That worked a few years ago, but now people are busy. There's a million offers out there. Like you really need to be intentional with this. And that's what's really going to help your offer sell, and why people will be emailing you for your $3,000 VIP offer, because it's something that is so fucking unique and it solves the problem that they have, that they are willing to throw good money at you. So that's the first strategy piece. Going to be mindful on our time. We'll get through the other two. So the second piece that we really worked on with this client, from going from $4K a month with her hodgepodge offers where she wanted to burn it all down and going to $23K months consistently, is having warm leads come through the door. And y'all, this sounds so basic, but people forget about this all the time. Like people just think that I need to do ads or I need to do this and it's just like, do you have leads coming in the door? Because that might be the problem that you need to solve for. So that's when we created this holistic marketing strategy to get her in front of her audience and to get her in front of other audiences. So like I said, she was on Pinterest, she was on LinkedIn, she was on every fucking thing. She had her own podcast for a while. She did ads for a bit, like literally everything you could do, she was doing it. So we really honed that in to just a couple platforms. It's literally like a Facebook group that she created. I don't even think she's posting in other people's Facebook groups. She stopped Pinterest, stopped the ads, stopped the podcast, focused on Instagram. She's really good at Reels. Like she kills it with Reels. She has so much fun with those two. Like those are her thing. And her email list. So those were the platforms, was her Facebook group, Instagram, and an email list. That's it. And then we created a free offer to help people get a taste of her work. So in this case, the main launch that she has, we have a webinar leading up to that. She will have like 300 people on this webinar, and she will basically sell out most of her spots from that. But it's just this easy opt-in that people can take. It's this easy next step. They get a taste of her work. They get a feel of what it's like to work with her. They get to know her vibe. They get to see if like they like her, the way she does things. And so that is how people they get in her world. They get on the email list. They get a promotion for joining the webinar. That it nurtures them. It builds a relationship with them. They can ask questions on the webinar. They're really getting an experience with her that then leads them, okay, there's still this gap you need to close. This webinar was great, but the gap still needs to be closed, and here's how I can help you do that. And then it points them to the higher ticket thing. And this is something that anyone can do. You can have a PDF, you can have a free call, you can have an audit. You just need some kind of way to nurture and build the relationship and cultivate let me give you some value and see what it's like to work with me. And then here's how there's still a gap and how we would upsell and solve for that. So this will look different for everyone, but this needs to be really specific to your audience, and it needs to show them a gap that's still there. So what I see happen a lot that people do is they're like, let me create this freebie. Here's how you do it all on your own. And it doesn't give someone the gap. It's like, okay, you want to do your own bookkeeping? Here you go. Or you want to DIY learning Canva or whatever. Like you want to learn time management, and you give them something that literally doesn't show them why they need to work with you. So give them something that's like, yes, giving a ton of value. Like I give master classes that like are as good as some paid stuff. And at the end, I'm still showing you that there's a gap. And at the end of her webinar, she's still showing people like, here's why you still need my support. Here's why I can still help you. Here's why, this will help you get this result. So think about that with your client journey. And when someone is being nurtured with you and you're giving free value, you're giving the call, the PDF, whatever, really think about what do your people need and then show them the gap. So this is something I just did an intensive. I'm wrapping it up tomorrow. Did an intensive with someone on this alone. Like this is something I haven't seen anyone else do. Like the freebie that she's offering is a PDF download, and it's around a subject that like I just don't see talked about very much. So it's so unique. Like we got on the call and we were talking about like, what does she hear people saying? What are people saying to her? Like, what are the exact words? What are people struggling with? Like, we're creating a document that helps them solve that problem. And it's still like, okay, how does this point into the next step? How does this maybe sell them into a free call with you? Okay, then what's the free call around? And then how does that sell into your advisory services? Like, this is just how you need to think. It's not enough to just be like, I'm going to do a free audit. Okay, bye. Like I have seen people do that and they're like, I don't even sell at the end of the free audit. And I'm like, why the fuck not? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like, here's your free audit. You can go do this stuff yourself or hire me, whichever. Like that's not the vibe. If you're going to do a free audit for someone or you're going to do a free call or free anything, like definitely set it up in the front that like, yeah, I will tell you at the end how we work together and I'm going to give you value before that. Like we can be very open and clear about that, but we do want something to nurture them so that they can get a taste of what it's like to work with you, get clear on your vibe, and then see like, okay, where is that gap? How do we close that? Let me show you how I can help you close that. Like it is very clear. It is very heart-centered. People love joining her webinar and they love buying from her on the back end because they're just like, I learned so much in that webinar. I got so much from that free training like that I haven't even seen online. Like if that's what she gives in a free container, like what is she going to offer with a paid container? Like I can't wait to see that. Like that is the vibe that you're setting up. And again, if you don't have this in your client journey, like no shame in that game. Like that is a great thing for us to work on your intensive. If you're not getting leads in the door, this is the problem we need to solve for. We need to create a holistic marketing strategy, and we need to create something that helps someone build a relationship with you, because we all buy based on relationships. Like two products can be the same. Maybe product A is even better than product B, but if you know the person that sells product B, you're probably going to buy product B. Like there's tons of studies around this. So building relationships is key, even though your product is probably going to be better, your service is probably better. But if you have that relationship with someone, they're going to buy from you versus the 10 million other people out there in their face selling XYZ. So that's what I have to say about that. So the other thing about having warm leads consistently coming through the door, we were also tweaking her messaging. So we were getting the data and like taking a look at what was happening, and we were making it very specific. Like I see people all the time, they're like, VAs or OBMs, like, get your time back. I'll help you get your time back. And it's just so generic and it doesn't connect the dots for someone. And I see bookkeepers that are like, I'll save you time. And it just like, yes, that's what you're doing, but you need to go like 5 layers deeper. And so that's what we would do on our coaching calls with this one client is like, okay, this is the result they want, but why do they really want that? Like, what's the thing underneath it? Oh, the dog. Penny, I guess my husband's leaving, so she needed to go see what was happening. Let me take a sip of water. So that's when we were like, okay, we're getting people coming through the door. I just had to get my train of thought back. When we want more people coming through the door, that's one of the other first things I would look at is the messaging. Like, okay, what are people saying to you in the DMs? What are people saying to you on sales calls? Like, what is the data telling you? How can you use that and weave it into your messaging? Because it is going to be like lighter fluid when you're actually speaking to what people want. Like solving someone's time problem, like, is probably going to land flat. Or like, I've seen bookkeepers being like, you know, we'll help make you a millionaire. And it's just like that. A lot of people do want to be millionaires, but a lot of people don't give a shit about being a millionaire. They just want to make 6 figures, replace their corporate salary, and work, you know, regular hours around their kid's schedule. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy. Okay, now Penny wants in. Come on. She has FOMO of wherever anyone is. But I think we're good now. But so that's the piece about messaging. Like, if you're not getting warm leads or if you're not getting the right fit leads through the door, make sure you have, you know, this piece in your marketing. And that's what we can do an intensive around is, do you have that way to cultivate relationships, build relationships, give people a taste of what you do, and what's your messaging? Like, is it really generic? Are you saying what everybody else is saying? Are you saying what you think people want to hear? Or are you saying like what's 5 layers deeper that like gets them here and they feel really seen and they feel really heard and it feels really raw, like that you know them? Like, that's what we can do on an intensive, and that's the problem to solve for if you're not getting leads in the door. Like, we would do a marketing intensive, and that's the focus of that. So looking at the time again. So the last strategy piece that I worked on with this client to take her from 4K months to 23K months consistently with fewer clients, like feeling just really good and peaceful and solid in her business, is that she was able to convert leads into high paying clients. And this is huge because I see this all the time online. You know, people who are selling marketing things or social media stuff, and they're talking about how to make your reels go viral or how to get more followers. I've seen this one specific sales promo about how to get like 13,000 people on your email list. And like, yes, that's very specific, but like, I don't give a shit if there's 13,000 people on my email list if they aren't buying. And so that's the thing we did with her. She had, when we first started working together, she had a lot of followers. Like, she was being consistent. She loved reels. She was good at them. She had tons of followers. But the problem was converting them into high paying clients. So that was what we were working on. So if you have tons of likes, tons of followers, or if you're chasing like, okay, I'm trying to get more followers, I'm doing those follow chains. I see this bullshit on Facebook groups. It's like, let's follow each other. Or on Reels, it's like, anyone who likes this post, I'll follow you back. Like, that just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't do anything for your business. Like, you can look at my stuff. I made 239K last year, and it was with less than 500 Instagram followers, less than 400 people in this group. Like, you do not need a big audience. Like, I barely have any likes on any of my posts. People probably feel bad for me, but I'm like laughing all the way to the bank. So I'm like, well, I'm selling the shit out of some stuff, and I work with fewer clients. So when she wasn't converting people into high ticket clients, here's what we did. We started speaking to objections early and often. And I know this can be really uncomfortable. Oh shit, I gotta wrap this up here. But we spoke to objections early and often in her content and in her emails. Like, this was just something that needed to happen because obviously people have objections whether you're speaking to them or not. And speaking to them will help someone feel heard and understood. And like with her clients, like, no one has money. They are all basically students. Like, they are poor students. No one has money. So we started talking about the fact that like none of her clients feel like they can afford it because they're all students and like they don't really have jobs yet, or if they do have a job, it's like at a restaurant or part-time or whatever. And so that was something we were like, yeah, you probably think that people investing in this have more money than you, but they don't. Like, no one feels like they have money, but they invest in this so that they get results faster so they can get the job that they want and make money. And like, that's probably what you do as a service provider too. Like, as a bookkeeper or an advisor or, you know, someone offering a course or mentorship, like, every one of your potential clients probably thinks your current clients have way more money than them. And it's like, you just need to speak to that early and often. Like, no, they don't. This is why they hire me, to help make more money or to help get their, you know, whatever with their time so that they can make more money. So, excuse me, I had a tickle in my throat. So speaking to objections early and often and being willing to go there, excuse me, with clients. Like when she gets on calls with people, my eyes are watering, so don't mind me. She doesn't just hear someone say, oh, I don't have the money. And then she's like, okay, well, my door's always open. Like, fuck that bullshit. Like, no. If you're a heartfelt, heart-centered service provider, you're going to go there with someone. You're going to take the time to be like, I hear you, but in your head, you don't have to say this to them. Like most of the time when someone says it's about money, it's not really about the money, but you need to be the person who is like the 1% who's actually going to go there with them and actually sit with them and figure out what's really the thing going on. I think I was trying to talk too fast. It just hurt my throat. So just be open, be curious. Like we're not like trying to change someone's mind. We're not trying to pressure anyone, but be the person who's like, oh, have you invested in something previously and it didn't work out and now you don't trust yourself? Maybe they got into debt and now they don't trust themselves. Maybe they spent thousands of dollars on Lululemon leggings and now they don't trust themselves with money. Or maybe they've made investments in the past, but they didn't show up for them and now they don't know if they're going to show up for this. Like I see this so often with people who come in to work with me and they're just like, I've invested thousands of dollars in my business before and I haven't gotten results. Like, help me learn how to trust myself so that I can make this investment. Like, when people have objections, it's usually more of a question of, it's not like a no is a no. Like if someone is a no, totally respect that, totally get it. But if they're just like, I can't afford it, be the 1% of people who's willing to sit there with them in their uncomfortableness and ask them like what's really going on. Like, of course, no one has bags of money to spend on their business or on their health or on their education or whatever it is that you do and sell. But be the person who's like, hey, I'll go there with you. I'm not just going to be like, okay, you have an objection. You think it's expensive. See you later. Call me when you have more money. Like that feels so disempowering to someone. And so just be the person who's willing to lean in is what I'm going to say. Let's see. And so this last piece of not being able to convert people, like that is huge. If you're in the position where you're like, I have followers, I have people on my email list, I have reels and they do really well, but like people aren't buying or I keep hearing I can't afford it. Like that's when we need to do a sales intensive because we can do so much good together in this week. Like I love sales intensives because sales does get to be heart-centered. So we can really work together and be like, okay, where do people keep bumping up? Like where exactly in your sales process are they not converting? What's your follow-ups like? Like literally we can practice sales calls together. If you're having calls during your week intensive, like message me, email me, like I give unlimited support. Like this is what this client was literally doing in her launches when people would say, oh, I can't afford it, or maybe next time. It was literally like ideating together of like, what's really going on? Like, what do you really think the thing is? Like, why don't we ask them this? You know, like, is this actually the thing for them? Okay, it is. Like, do you trust yourself to show up for it? Like, we can do a sales intensive that is so fucking liberating. Like, as a business owner, no one teaches us sales, but you can learn to love sales and you can learn to be good at it in a heartfelt way. Like, most of the people, when they buy from me, they're like, that was one of the best experiences. I felt so seen. I felt so heard. You're so compassionate. You're so empathetic. Like, it can really feel good. And so if it feels icky selling, please book one of these intensives and we can create like a sales strategy. Like literally, what are you saying on the calls? We'll give you some tools in your toolbox about how to hold the free call, how to pivot to the pitch on a best fit call. Like literally, how are you holding that? How are you being the leader in that? And then how are you getting buy-in along the way? How are you navigating objections? How are you doing your follow-ups? Like there's so many things within a sales intensive that we can focus on that are going to just turn your sales around and your conversions don't have to plummet just because you pivoted to high ticket. So chasing followers can be so fucking frustrating and all the vanity metrics don't mean shit if people aren't buying for you. So getting good at sales and converting people is a must in your business if you're going to take your 4K months to 23K months or take it from whatever your goal is. Like you have to get good at sales as a done for you service provider, like bookkeeper, web designer, online social media manager, like you probably didn't have to have those skills. You would just open a spot and people would buy. And when you're pivoting to high ticket, that's just not the case. So that's my spiel. Like that kind of will recap, how this client went from 4K months to 23K months was she got the solid offer. We worked on getting warm leads in the door that were the right fit, because you can get leads through the door, but if they're not the right fit, you really need to work on your messaging. You really need to speak to a different audience and bring more of the right fit people in. And then you need to know how to convert those people, how to turn them into paying clients, because it doesn't mean shit if they're just on your email list or they're following you if they're not buying from you. So those are basically the three things. That is the simple thing, but our brains want to make it more complicated. And the online space is totally going to try to make it more complicated for you. So be sure, if you're interested, book a best fit call for my one-to-one coaching sessions. Again, these are week-long sessions. We have 2 calls. We start the week off with a call, we bookend it with a call, and you have unlimited support in between. I've got one of these left until August. So be sure to book it now so that you can solve the right problem, so that you're not like wasting all of your time trying to fucking figure it out and not getting anywhere for any results for months. Like, we can fix that. This is figure outable. Like, we can do this. Like, I've supported so many clients to do this. This is my jam. This is my zone of genius. Like, I'm really fucking good at what I do. So I'll put the link in. I'm going to have to run out the door, but I'll come back later and I'll put the link for the intensive, what that looks like. Book a best fit call. We can ideate together. What does this look like? Do we have coaching, chemistry? What's the problem we're going to solve? Like, you will get clarity either way, whether we work together or not. So fucking book a best fit call. I'm just cussing because I'm so excited. But we can solve all this stuff is what I'm saying. So, what sets a 4K person a month apart from a 23K person a month that I'm going to wrap up with is that she leaned into support. Like, our brains want to kick up so much stuff. Our brains want to keep us safe. Our brains want to say it needs to be more complicated, or that doesn't work, or that didn't work that time. Like, leaning into the one-to-one support is huge and like the game changer with all of my clients. And so just get the one-to-one support if that's what you need. So I hope this has been super helpful for you. I know I went through it really quickly. I'm going to go to my daughter's bridging ceremony, and I'll be back next week with a really fun topic. And let me know your questions, your comments. I hope this was great and great for you. I think it's great, but hope this was supportive for you, and I will see you next week. Bye.